On this episode of American Outdoors, if you've been following the last several episodes, I've been discussing the electrical systems on these old square bodies, from testing and diagnosing the gauges all the way back to the sending units. So today, I'm going to be talking about the fuel system. And if you're not familiar with them, they're not really complicated, but if you're new to these old square bodies, say for example, one day you come out and your gauge reads nothing, or it's always reading something, or a little something something, and it never changes. So I'm going to help you avoid just throwing parts at these things and getting frustrated with just a few simple tests so you can understand what's going on and why it's doing what it's doing. Now, with the square body fuel gauges, most of the problems can be traced back to a corroded or a broken ground wire, which on these trucks is located on the fuel gauge sending unit, which is on top of the fuel tank, and there's either a purple or a black wire which will run to the frame. And that can be diagnosed with something as simple as a probe right here, just going back to check for continuity. But as I said earlier on my other videos, there's normally only 4 things that can go wrong with your fuel gauge, and that is the gauge itself, the fuel gauge sending unit, a broken power or ground wire, or the circuit board in the back, which has failed, gotten hot, melted, something like that. So a ground issue usually will indicate a fuel gauge that reads way past the full mark, towards the 3 o'clock position. For example, removing that ground wire at the tank, at the sending unit, should cause this gauge to read past full. So that means there's no resistance. That confirms your ground and gauge are good. If the gauge never reads above full, but rather like 3/4 or a half, it could be the resistor connected to the back of the gauge has failed. And I didn't mention this before, and I'll show you why. This is the resistor right here, this little white rectangular. Those can be replaced. However, you can buy brand new replacement fuel gauges for your truck, and they've got the updated technology where they do not use one of these resistors. So if you check the ground back at your fuel sending unit, the next thing I would do, pull the cover off of your dash, expose these gauges, and just pop your fuel gauge out. I have had before cases where I've had these out and put them back in, and I've missed the terminals completely. I've also had some that were corroded, and just a simple bit of filing down with some sandpaper to clean the contacts up can make the difference between these not reading properly and working just like they did from the factory. Pulling the entire cluster really isn't that hard. It takes me on average between 10 minutes, 15 minutes. The most difficult thing in removing these is the speedometer cable. And if you just if you can get your thumb up under the dash, you simply push down on that lever, and that holds the cable in. And by pushing that down, pull forward or pull on the cable, and that should release. And after that, you'll be able to access everything else to pull it out. But you can look back here on the circuit board. So these are the 3 contacts, and I've already got these labeled, that go to your fuel gauge, these terminals. This goes to your sending unit. The terminal at the 6 o'clock goes to your ground, and the terminal at the 3 o'clock position goes to your key on 12-volt power. You can see the same thing. This contact right here is for the sending unit. That contact at the bottom is for your ground, and over here is your key on ignition. And you can also just simply take your finger and you can trace these circuits back to where your plug-in is. And you can take a test light here and check for power. For example, you can see right here, this circuit board has gotten hot and it's bubbled up, it's melted here. And they make these circuit boards still. You can buy these aftermarket. They're not a whole lot of money. But from here This will go directly back to your sending unit. GM used a pink wire with a black stripe for the power to these dash circuits, and then of course they used a black wire to ground it. The gauge is grounded to the dash. Your fuel sending unit is grounded to the frame with a black or a purple wire, and the power wire is this, and it is normally orange, tan color, and the power wire goes right to the sending unit on top of the fuel tank. So if the gauge needle is stuck on E, then there is a dead short to ground somewhere between the ground and the gauge. This indicates a problem with the wiring or the sending unit. If you disconnect the sending unit back at the tank and then your needle starts to rise and go past full, then the wiring's good. And then the issue is likely with the sender. It could be stuck, the float's dropped in the tank, the wire wound resistor element is shorted to the sender body at both ends. At that point, it really doesn't matter because the sending unit just gets replaced as a whole and you're done with that. I'm doing this all out of the car just so it's easier for you to see and explain. You don't have to try and film underneath the dash or underneath the truck, trying to get good angles and good lighting. This makes it very simplified. The first thing you want to do, you're going to use a multimeter so we can start testing the system. Doesn't have to be a fancy multimeter. As I've said before, you can get these at Harbor Freight for a couple bucks. You can spend 30 bucks. You can spend a whole lot of money if you want. But anyway, so it's off right now. I'm going to set this to the battery mode and 12 volt because the first thing you want to do if you're going to use a battery for power source, make sure that it's charged. And we got about 12.5 volts, a little more than that. So we've got power. To check resistance on, the first thing we're going to check resistance on is this fuel gauge. I'm going to set the multimeter to the ohm setting. And you can see right here, this little picture looks like a fat guy stooped over. That's your ohms. And I'm setting it to the 200 mark. The first thing I'm going to do is touch both my leads together. That shows I have no resistance. You can see the meter, 0, 0, 0. There is no resistance to begin testing. So unplugged, this gauge should be at E. Now remember, when the gauge is installed, it's grounded through the chassis to the frame. What I'm going to do is I'm going to connect one alligator clip, which is already connected to the negative side of the battery, and I'm going to connect it to the ground terminal on the gauge. Remember, the 6 o'clock position. Okay? Then I'm going to take and connect another alligator clip to the positive terminal. And I am going to connect it to the key on, right here, 3 o'clock position. What should happen when I do that if this gauge is good, is it should start to rise and go past the full position. That will confirm that the gauge is good and you can move on to the next step. Here is a brand new sending unit. I haven't had this for very long at all. So this sending unit is grounded, like I said, with either a black wire or a purple wire, and this will be grounded to the frame right there. This should be easy to access with the fuel tank still connected. So I'm going to add an alligator clip from the negative side of the battery to the ground on the sending unit. Then I've already got a ground wire on the back at the ground terminal, 6 o'clock position. I'm also going to ground it to this terminal. Then I'm going to take another alligator clip and I'm going to connect it to the sending unit terminal, the 9 o'clock position, like that. And then that will go to the positive terminal right here, the power terminal for the sending unit. As you can see, it's doing nothing. So let's check resistance. With an alligator clip connected to the negative terminal of the fuel gauge, which runs to the negative of the sending unit, and then with a negative cable running from the negative post on the battery also to the ground on the fuel sending unit. And then I have another cable, red cable, running from the sending unit terminal of the gauge to the terminal on the sending unit. Readings, see, this one is no good. It's out of parameters. On a fuel sending unit at empty, the sender resistance should be an ohm, 0. At half, the sender resistance should be about 44 ohms. And at full, the sender resistance should be up to 90. Again, it's from 0 to 90 ohms is the range on all of these GM fuel pumps. So brand new, this one's no good-o. So here's another fuel pump. Let me get all this stuff out of the way. This fuel pump came from an online vendor. Didn't cost very much at all. No good out of the box. This is a new one that I bought locally. This one cost about $25 more than this one. However, if you look at these, they're identical. It seems like it's becoming pretty common. The more videos that I'm doing, the more that I talk about junk parts. So I don't know if this one came from the Zhejiang province. I'm sure for what it cost, it probably came on a slow boat overseas. Anyway, so here's another new one, and we're going to go ahead and test this one. So we'll start from scratch. Fuel gauge is on E. I'm going to ground it right there, and then I'm going to take a second clip from there and I'm going to ground it here. Then, again, I will take and run an alligator clip to the sending unit terminal on the gauge and run it to the sending unit terminal on the sending unit. I should still have the multimeter set to 200K. So now we got a jumble of wires. So one more time, I will take and just clip this on here. So I've got a good connection. Okay, so right now, if you can see the meter, let's move the float. Okay, so this one is working. You can see the resistance is changing. So I'm going to pull the multimeter off and set that off to the side. Now I am touching the key on terminal with another alligator clip. Now the float is at the bottom, so it should read empty. And we're going to go ahead and touch this to the positive. And then, as we raise this, you can see the gauge is responding. So right now it should be about a half a tank. And if I raise it some more, it should continue till it goes up to the full mark. This fuel sending unit is good. So then I drop it back down and it responds accordingly. So right there we have a completed circuit with a functional fuel sending unit and a good functioning fuel gauge. For GM trucks between 1967 and 1987, these fuel sending units were made based on what's known as a positive fuel level coefficient. That means that resistance increases with the fuel level. In other words, with this float right here, as I raise this, I increase resistance. And the more resistance, the more the fuel gauge will respond. So that zero resistance equals an empty fuel gauge. Whereas half would be a half full, and full, your gauge is going to show that your tank is topped off. Chasing those electrical gremlins on these old trucks can really be frustrating. The problem we usually run into is we don't start from the beginning. We start from the middle and we work back and forth, and then we just pull our hair out. But fixing these problems can be just following a simple formula. Test the fuel gauge, test the sending unit, test the wiring. Leave your comments, leave your complaints, leave your questions, favorite songs, favorite movies, favorite recipes. Stick around. We'll be back with another episode next week. Thanks for watching us here at American Outdoors. Bye-bye.